So you're going to qualify for the $7,500 tax credit for your new electric vehicle? Well, you'll find out after watching this video. I'm going to walk through a decision tree answering yes and no questions based on a vehicle that's purchased in 2023 here. I'm going to flip back and forth between a tax return. So make sure you have your 2022 tax return available, your personal return, just pages 1 and 2. And by the end of the video, you should be able to know whether you're going to qualify for this credit or not. And if you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below. Thanks again for watching.
All right, so I'm going to walk through a decision tree answering some questions relating to the EV credit or the clean vehicle credit. The rules have changed for the 2023 tax year and future years. So the rules from prior years in 2022 tax year, which the due date was October 15th. All those tax returns are done. The rules have changed, and this decision tree should help you answer your questions. The decision tree gets very, very long, but it's kind of like you answer it yes and no, and then based on how you answer it, it will kind of determine whether you're going to get the credit or not. I'm going to flip back and forth between this decision tree and a tax return. So make sure you have your 2022 personal tax return, pages 1 and 2, in front of you, so you can kind of see where the numbers kind of line up. And hopefully by the end of this, you'll be able to see right off the bat whether you're going to qualify or not. So kind of the first question is, the decision tree is for original purchases of a new clean vehicle. So there's another decision tree, which I can create a video for, on used electric vehicles, but this one only relates to new clean vehicles. It doesn't apply to new vehicles that were purchased after 2022 and placed in service before April 2023. It does not address a taxpayer's election to transfer the credit to the car dealer. Now, I think this goes into effect in 2024, where if you go through the decision tree and based on your income and everything, you don't qualify, but there's an opportunity where you can almost transfer the credit to the dealer, and instead of paying, $40,000 for a car, they will reduce it by the credit amount. So to say the credit's $7,000, instead of paying $40,000, you'll be paying $33,000. So I think we're going to see a lot of people kind of take that approach. And then, so let's go through this. Let's see here. So was the vehicle placed in service after December 31st and before January 1st, 2033? This is 2033 because this new rule kind of goes all the way through December 31st of 2023. So assuming that you buy this vehicle after December 31st, 2022, right? We're looking at the 2023 tax year. Okay. We're assuming you bought this vehicle then. We're going to say yes. Okay. So you can see what happens here. Now, does the taxpayer's modified gross income for the current tax year, or if less for the preceding tax year, $300,000 if you're married, filed joint. So remember, does the taxpayer's modified adjusted gross income for the current tax year, or if less for the preceding year, exceed $300,000? So if you answer yes to this, then the taxpayer is not eligible for the vehicle credit. Okay, and that's the big one. That's the number one question that is going to determine a lot of things. You can't go further if you're AGI. I'm going to go to a tax return here. Here's a tax return for 2022. The line item you want to look at is line number 11 here, your adjusted gross income. So if this is above $300,000, you stop. You can't do anything. You don't qualify. And this is where going to, trying to negotiate with the dealer where you transfer the credit to them, and then they kind of, reduce your price. So, so if you answered yes to this, it stops there. So now let's assume you're AGI and you're married, filed joint, and here you can see here, if you're single, or you're married, filed separate, your limit is $150,000. Let's just say you are under these limits here. Okay. So now we go to the next question. Does the manufacturer suggest the retail price of the vehicle exceed $55,000 for other vehicles or $80,000 for a van, SUV, pickup truck? So if the manufacturer suggested retail price is it above this, you stop. You're no longer eligible to get this credit. Okay, so that's another factor that you gotta consider in all this. So now let's assume the Tesla that you're buying is $40,000. Okay, so your AGI is below this amount, and the vehicle that you buy is below this price. So we're going to say no to this. Okay. So now the next question is, did original use of the vehicle begin with the taxpayer? Okay. So again, this goes back to, is this used or is this original? So did the original use of the vehicle begin with the taxpayer? If you click no here, taxpayer is not eligible. So that's another one that's going to stop you. So again, we're looking at this as a new clean vehicle. So we're going to say yes to this right here. Okay, so I'm going to make this. Okay, did the taxpayer acquire this vehicle for use or lease or resale? Okay, so we're going to say for resale. You're not eligible. Okay, so you're buying this vehicle for yourself, for your use. Okay, so we're going to say yes. So is the vehicle treated as a motor vehicle for purposes of Title II of the Clean Air Act? We're going to say no. You're not eligible, okay, because there's certain criteria of this vehicle, and I think most vehicles are going to meet this, so it's going to be yes. Is the vehicle, gross vehicle weight under 14,000 pounds? We're going to say no, it's not. You're stopped there, okay? So that's another criteria that you got to factor in, is the weight of the vehicle. So we're going to say yes. You're going to keep down. Was the vehicle manufactured in a qualified manufacturer? And if you saw some of my earlier videos, there's a link where I show you where you can see where it's manufactured, because that's another big component of all this. So we're going to say yes. Okay. Did the vehicle's final assembly occur in North America? We're going to say yes. Okay, we're going to keep on going here. Now, the person that sells the vehicle to the taxpayer must provide a report to the taxpayer and to the IRS that contains taxpayer. So you got to make sure, was the taxpayer provided a report by the selling containing the required information? So this is very important. When you're buying this EV vehicle, you got to have all this information here. So we're going to say yes to keep going here. Has another new vehicle credit been claimed for the vehicle with the same VIN? Okay. We're going to say yes. You're stopped here. Okay. Again, this goes back to the used, or is this new? Okay. So now we're going to go back to changing this no, so we can keep it going here. Is the vehicle an electric motor or qualified fuel cell vehicle? You can see the items here. That is propelled to a significant extent by an electric motor that draws electricity from a battery with a capacity of at least 7 kilowatts hours, can be recharged from an external source of electricity. We're going to say yes. And then it's going to keep on going here. Was the vehicle placed in service before December 31st? We're going to say yes. And again, this is going to keep on going and going here, but I wanted to kind of go over some of these initial items, because these are ones where I get a lot of questions on, about the AGI, about used or new vehicle, the cost of the vehicle, was it for resale or was it for lease, right? These are kind of the basic things you got to have in place here in 2023 if you want to get this credit. Then let's go back to the tax return here. And I showed this in an example prior, your AGI, right? It's below 300,000. But then we go back to line 18 here, right? Total tax. If your credit, now you'll see the max credit $7,500, but not all vehicles are going to get that. Some only qualify for $3,000. Some qualify for $4,000. You got to look at what your vehicle qualifies for. It's different for every vehicle. But just say your vehicle qualifies for the $7,500. If this line 18 here is below $7,500, you're not going to get the max credit. Okay, because it's a non-refundable credit, meaning that if you don't owe at least $7,500, you're not going to get $7,500 back from the IRS. Okay. So it's a non-refundable credit. And we got to look at this line 18. That's very important. So this line 18 says $1, and that's everything else here. You're just going to get $1 back. You're not going to get $1 plus $7,499. So you get your, so the total credit is $7,500. It's non-refundable. So, you got to look out for that. So make sure you have your 2022 tax return up here. So let me know if you have any questions here, but I wanted to make sure that a lot of these common questions that I'm getting from a lot of people here get answered through this decision tree. So if you're buying a vehicle in 2023, make sure you kind of go through all these steps. And I can kind of keep going. This is a very long decision tree because, let's see here. So were any of the applicable critical minerals in the battery were extracted, processed, or recycled by a foreign entity? Yes. If you click yes, you stop. Okay. So you got to get down to this level here. So if you click no here, then you keep going. Okay. Was the vehicle placed in service after you click yes? Okay. And you can kind of keep going here. If we click no, does the vehicle satisfy domestic content requirements? Yes. And then the taxpayer is eligible for a $350,000 credit. So here we go. That's kind of like here's what you're eligible for. So again, let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully this answers a lot of yours. Thank you.